Good morning, class. How have you been? I hope you guys are doing well. Once again, we are in the campus recording a video so that you can have an idea about how things are here. It's a bit silent and no one's here. It's slightly spooky for us, but still, we are holding on and we are trying to make the best of whatever we've got. And I know that many of you are also going through some difficult phases there. Many of your friends are also suffering from many difficulties because of the COVID pandemic. The pandemic has reached really close to us and it's quite scary. But we have to continue with whatever activities that we are doing now, and we'll try our best to make things easier for us, better for us, so that we find peace somehow, we find happiness somehow, and we'll keep on supporting each other, our friends and family members and neighbors and colleagues, and through our words, through our gestures of love, so that love and companionship is all that we have presently to hold on to. So we'll hold on to that and fight this pandemic together. So we'll continue with our classes. We'll not give up to any kind of circumstances. We'll keep up this learning process and we'll continue. So in the last couple of classes, we have been discussing about the colonial discourse and how post-colonialism is a mode of thought which actually criticizes the colonial discourse and which in a way tries to free the psyche of the natives from the colonial influences, tries to reaffirm their native identity, tries to free the native identity from the influences of the colonial history. So we have been thinking about history also, how the history of the natives was misrepresented by the colonial masters so that they can convince the natives of the superiority of the colonial masters and influence their psyche. So today we are continuing with the thought and specifically focusing on the ideas proposed by Frantz Fanon. Frantz Fanon is probably one of the most significant theoreticians when it comes to the post-colonial discourse. What he discusses is mostly titled the psychopathology of colonialism. Psychopathology of colonialism. So Frantz Fanon's idea is this. Now, the colonial discourse not just influences the ways of life and administration and the economic relations of a society, but it also influences the individual psyche of the colonized people. So what happens is when the colonization process happens, when the empire decides to expand its horizons in other lands to Asia, to Africa, and we can identify the discourse with our country in India, what happens is that they not just colonize the lands and the businesses and the trade and all, but also they colonize the minds of the natives. And they do it by convincing them of the superiority of the colonial master, and they do it through education, they do it through the reworking of history, they do it through religious indoctrination, and such methods are employed. So Frantz Fanon says that the mind of the native is also deeply influenced by the colonial discourse, because when the white tells them stories about themselves, and the white come and tell the natives that you guys are an inferior lot, you guys are a pagan lot, your religions, your ways of life are very stupid and they do not make sense at all. We are the developed ones, we are the progressive ones, our ideas are better and your ways of life are very crude and uncouth. When the whites keep on narrating these ideas to the natives through education, through the administrative processes, through religious instruction. So this kind of indoctrination that our race and the ways in which we live in are somehow inferior and are not good at all, it creates a kind of deep insecurity in the native about their own identity, about their own culture. And this insecurity initially results in them trying to be like the white men so that they would also be accepted by them. That is, initially they might imitate the ways of the white man, they might imbibe the religious spirit of the white man, and they might try to speak the language of the white man so that their identity might be accepted, or because they are convinced or they imbibe the idea that the white are a superior lot and we are a inferior lot, and somehow to be accepted better by the whites, they try in the initial phases they try to imitate the whites and imitate the colonial masters and try to imbibe a lifestyle like them. But this process is not easy, because it will never happen that they can free themselves of the native culture and embrace a brand new culture and become one with that culture. It's not possible. So what happens is they get stuck in the middle, and there is a huge identity conflict there. There is a split of identity there, and this psychological trauma of feeling inferior and insecure continues. But in the later phases, the fact that the colonial masters are actually trying to convince us of their superiority, and it does not in any way mean that we are originally inferior or racially inferior, is understood by the natives through the education that was given by the colonial master itself, because the colonial education also included the ideas of rationality and rational thought, using which the natives also identify that our cultures are in no way inferior to their cultures, and they start resisting colonial ideas. When the colonial master comes up with new ideas, they start resisting colonial ideas with the help of the same education which was offered by the colonial masters as part of cultural indoctrination. So they start resisting, and eventually when they understand that our culture is also unique and significant, they start trying to nostalgically holding on to their cultures, their language, their ways of life, their beliefs, and they start reinstating or reaffirming the strength of their culture and cultural identity. They start speaking for themselves, they start reaffirming their identity that we are like this and our ways are like this, and this is not in any way inferior to your culture, and they start writing in their own language, writing about their own cultures, they revive their own art forms, they revive their own beliefs. But at times, there are many problems underlying the same native discourse itself. For example, in the Indian scenario, caste system was a huge evil which was underlying the native cultures. So when this gets revived, when the native culture gets revived as a part of resistance to colonialism, these elements are not kept in check. So along with the native cultures, these ideas like casteism or caste divide also came in. So many elements were not critically looked into when they nostalgically tried to reinstate their native culture. But now, as the society progresses, they are being looked into very critically also. So this is the process which Frantz Fanon calls the psychopathology of colonialism, where the natives through many kinds of narratives and cultural indoctrination are convinced of the superiority of the white colonial master, and they think that they feel inferior and insecure about their own cultures and cultural identities, and they start working to be like the white man in the works like Black Skin, White Masks and The Wretched of the Earth by Frantz Fanon. These concepts are elaborated. You can have a brief look at them. So when they try and fail to become like the white colonial master, and they really understand through the same education that we are not in any way inferior and they are not in any way superior. We can have our own cultures, and they can be revived and need to be revived so that we can reaffirm our cultural identity. So this process goes on, but at times there are some ideas which are not looked into critically, which are actually problematic in the native cultures itself. But this process is very significant of reviving their own cultural identities, resisting the colonial discourse. I hope the ideas are clear. In the next class, we will discuss another theoretician and some more theoretical concepts, most probably Edward Said's Orientalism. So I'll see you in the next class. So stay safe, or keep all the precautionary measures possible, and stay positive and be there for your friends. It's a very difficult time. So whatever difficulties you have, somehow try to communicate it to us. We will try to help you in the best way possible. Communicate all your problems to your friends also, so that they can share your worries and don't suffer by yourself. Stay in touch with all your friends. I know that this is a very difficult phase, but we shall overcome. So we shall overcome together. Thank you.